Hi everyone, welcome to the next chapter of our Flutter development course. So in this chapter, we are going to look into how we can configure widgets and objects and how to build custom widgets. So we will be also looking into an important concept which is called objects. Basically, every value in Flutter is an object, and understanding this is very important. So we have discussed about types in our previous chapters. So if you have not got a chance to check out our previous chapters, a link will be attached to the description where you can check all our previous chapters. So now let's get back to our application where we have started. We have created this application in our previous chapters. Basically, this is nothing but we have created a app with a scaffold widget, and we have placed a text called which will say hello world in the center of the screen. So let's just rerun the app and see how it looks. So this is the app which we had created in our previous chapter. So our next step will be to enhance the appearance of this particular app because honestly it looks quite boring, as you can see. So firstly, let's start by changing the background color from white to some color, and then we will be gradually adding a nice gradient to it, and also we will be making some changes to the text. So let's work on the background color first. So basically we have used this scaffold widget previously, and we have seen that there is a body argument which accepts a particular widget, and this helps in displaying the scaffold. But if you have noticed a pattern in Flutter, most widgets in Flutter allow you to pass values to various arguments. You will almost always have at least one argument, like body or child, that will require a particular, that will require another widget. So this widget is then included in a wrapping or outer widget. So additionally, here in case of a scaffold, except body, there are other arguments as well. So let's try some different arguments for if you want to see what different arguments a particular widget provides. What you can do is you can command click or control click the particular widget, which will redirect you to the definition of the widget in a Flutter SDK, and here you can see all the arguments provided by this particular widget. So here we can see there, if we scroll down, we can see a background color, background color argument. So as you might guess, the background color argument will allow you to set the background color of the screen, which will be created by scaffold widget. So let's try it. And also you can see that background color is if I hover on background color argument, you can see it accepts or it wants a type color. Now you can see the question mark beside the color parameter. So it means that the question mark means that it can either be a value of type color or it can be set as null, which will mean that no color will be set. So to set a non-value color, it must be a color type. So we can basically create a color value by the built-in color class or by a constructor function, which we will be discussing later. So let's try adding the color class. So what we have to do is we have to use the background color, and let's say let me set it as a brown color. Okay, so this is the background color which I have created. So let me save it and reload it and see how our app looks. So basically this is we have set a color and according to that the app has responded and it has set a background color as brown. Now if you look into the argument, the value where we have set the color, if I hover over that or if I click on that particular color, you can see a color picker. Now let's try to change the color to nice purple one. So hovering over the color picker, it shows the ARGB function. If you can see, it's the ARGB function, which gives a value of type color as well. You can see it returns the value of color type. So now you can see that like once I've selected a color, this changes from colors.brown to colored from ARGB, a function which is created, which creates a color by mixing the red, green, blue and blue values along with the alpha channel for transparency. So like this is exactly what the background color arguments requirement. Like it wanted a color value, like color type. It wants a value of it wanted a value of type color. So we have provided it. This color value is nothing but an object, like just like all values in Dart. So widgets in Flutter are basically objects. Like if you see material apps, scaffold, so these are basically objects. So objects are nothing but a data structure in memory managed by Dart. So whenever a background color is set to a color object, the scaffold widget uses that color information to display the particular background. Here in case it is, or like if I save and reload it, you can see the purple color being changed in the app. So this isn't our final background. Like we, just for understanding objects, we have used this. So I want to create a nice gradient background, but unfortunately in background color it only takes a thicker color, and scaffold widget doesn't have any argument which will let us add a gradient background color directly. So what can we do? Like we can add a new widget between scaffold and center. Like between scaffold and center, we can add a different widget and we can try to like apply a gradient color to that particular widget. So if I want to do that, like we need a container widget. So the easiest way to wrap a particular widget with a container widget is that just right click that particular widget which we want to wrap it, click on refactor. Now we can click on wrap with container. So once we wrap with container, you can see that the container widget has wrapped our center widget. So the container widget is very useful for styling and layout, which I will be covering in the later part of the courses. So after adding container, you might see some red lines which will suggest that there is an error. So basically what the container widget is a widget provided by Flutter that doesn't support being set to constant, and because of this you can't set any parent widget to constant either. So what we have to do is we have to remove the constant from the parent widget. So once I remove that, you can see that the red lines are gone. Basically your IDE will guide you, like your Visual Studio code will guide you where you can add constant, where not to is, which is very useful. So now you can also see some blue lines. This happens because at the moment Dart and your code editor thinks that we are using container unnecessarily. If you save and reload, you can see that nothing is going nothing is changed. Now basically we are not done here. The container provides useful arguments, one of which is decoration. This allows you to add various kinds of decoration to the container and its child elements as well. So decoration argument, like let's try to add a decoration argument to container. So for decoration we will be using box decoration as it's suggested as its argument or as its value. We can use the box decoration constructor function. This will return basically a box decoration object which is of type decoration. So let me try to add box decoration function. Go into command, click this box decoration. We can see that there are few arguments accepted by or provided by this box decoration object. So we can see here gradient. So let's try to use the gradient object or gradient argument. So if I use gradient argument, as you can see that it requires a value of type gradient. So we can create different types of gradients like radial or linear. So here we will be using a linear gradient, a simple gradient. So a linear gradient can be created by using the linear gradient constructor function, which has also several widgets. So as you can see, it has already suggested us a linear gradient constructor function. So let me use that, and we can see different colors. Like here colors will be an array. We can because gradient is made up of multiple colors, so instead of a single color, you can use multiple color here. So we'll try to add multiple colors here. So since this is an array, so let me try to add a few colors here. Black color. Once I get the color picker, I will try to add few more colors. White. So using the color picker, we can use different colors. So I will select something similar to purple as well, so that it looks good. This also, let me choose something similar to purple. Let it create a dark one. Okay, so we have basically added few colors here. So what this blue line suggests that we need to add constant before box decoration, so we will do that. And also we need to add constant before this center widget. So doing this, it removes all the error files, like the lines of error. So we have created a nice gradient. So let's see how it looks. So you can see a nice gradient is created here. For a linear gradient, we need to set the colors argument, which we have done. By default, the gradient goes from left to right. If we wanted to go from top left to top right, like bottom right, we can change this by adding more arguments to linear gradient. So what we can do is we can add few more arguments. Like we can add here begin as well. Let me end this color array. Start begin. Now begin there will be alignment to top right, or let me set it as top left to end as alignment dot bottom right. Let's see how our app looks. If we reload the app, so we can see that the direction on the gradient has been changed now. So now let's try to add few as you can see here, the text looks very simple. So let's try to add few style into our text. So what we can do is we can add few styles into our text. So let me do that. Let me add style. I will be using text style. Text style, we can use it as a function, constructor function. Now we can set as color, where we'll be using white color, and we will be also setting the font size as, let's suppose, 28. Okay. So let's see how our app looks now. Reload it. So you can see now the text looks quite bit more attractive. Now, so this is the application is finally our application is slowly taking a shape, but it's definitely looking a lot better than what we have created at the beginning. But also our code has grown quite a bit. So that's totally fine because it's part of the process. However, as our widget gets bigger with all of its configuration, you will be adding more complex widgets to it, it's time to think about breaking it apart. So when building Flutter apps, you typically want to break down every the big widget trees and create your small widgets, like your custom widgets. So this will help to split your code into smaller and reusable building blocks, which you can reuse again and again. Whenever there will be a requirement of a particular widget, you can just import it and use that. So by combining these smaller widgets, you can create you can build a more organized and maintainable app. So that's what exactly we are going to do. So when it comes to breaking up a widget tree, there is no hard and fast rule. You can basically, it's up to you which parts you want to turn into a custom widget. So for the demo purpose, for this, let's take the container with all of its settings and widget, this container and all of its widget as a separate separate widget. Let's create it. So what we can do is now the question comes how do we put this in a separate widget, or how to create a separate widget from this. So for that, we need to create a class which is using that's a built-in class keyword. But what is a class? Like, as we have learned, widgets are basically objects and data structures in the memory, but not that widgets, all the value types in Dart are also objects. Classes are basically the blueprints of these objects. So Dart is basically an object-oriented language, and you are very familiar with classes and objects. So classes will define the kind of object it will store. For example, a color object will always store red, green, blue, and other transparency values. So in Dart, like classes like container, scaffold, box decoration, these are used to create objects, like by using a constructor function. So let's create a widget. So firstly, we will let's create the class. For example, for here I will name our class as gradient container. And here will be our class body. Okay. So what we need to do is, since we want to create a widget, our class should extend whether it's a stateless or stateful widget. So for now, let me just use a stateless widget. Later I will explain I will have a separate course on, or like separate chapter on what is stateless and what is stateful. So just inherit all the necessary properties and methods from stateless widget. Let me override that. Let me create the widget. So build method is required for all the widgets. It will return the widget you want to display. So as it has already suggest build context, let me use it, context return the container function. So this is how our class will look. Now let's do one thing. Since we want to replace our custom or this container as our custom widget, so what we can do is we can copy the whole container here from here, and we will place it instead of here. We will place it we can just replace it like this. Okay, so we have created our custom widget. So let's use this now, the gradient container, in our main body. So what we have to do is we have to just use this gradient container. So if I save the app, and reload it, you will see our app exactly looks the same. But what we have done is we have created our own custom widget correctly. Also, you can see that there is a blue line which will suggest that we need to have a constructor function. So let me just go into quick fix and add the key constructor. So once you see that this particular constructor function is added, everything is good. Let me reload the app and see how it looks. So it looks exactly like the one. If it is working properly, then like if we were successful in creating our custom widget, it should work exactly like what we have done earlier. So this is basically a very crucial step, because we will be creating custom widgets throughout the course, like throughout the project, or when we will be keep expanding our app. Basically, it will improve the code readability, usability, and maintainability. So that's it for now. Like for this particular course, we will be experimenting with breaking down widget trees further, creating custom widgets, and we will be looking into how we can expand this app, or how we can add more styles into this app in the next chapters. So thank you, and that will be it for this chapter. See you in the next chapter. Thank you.